Since it's Flag Day, I would like to give
Absolutely.
special consideration. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very patriotic of you, Jack. I just noticed it was Flag Day.
The reason for the special meeting this morning is for a work session, and I guess we'll jump right into it.
I'll start with Chief Senator.
We will start with Chief Senator.
How about if I defer to Mr. Bahari, because we've got a number of things to discuss, so as not to
Cut him loose.
keep him here longer than he probably wants to be.
Get back out in the overcast skies today.
It's going to be sunny later. It's supposed to be. It's going to be sunny, there's no doubt.
I only have a couple things. It's more just updates. Got the first fence quote from Veterans Fence. 4-foot high galvanized fence. And so I'm just trying to find the price he just sent to me this morning. And that one came in at $41,055. So he was saying, wood's going to be quite a bit more right now. I just got a call from, it was at Northeast Ohio Fence and Deck. They're coming in tomorrow at noon. They're going to look at it, give us another quote. So moving along, just waiting to get a few quotes, and then we'll discuss, see which route you guys want to go.
How high is the one that's there now? 5 foot?
Probably, no, it's probably more like 6.
Is it?
So,
Yeah, I would say.
but
I can't see over the top of it, so.
you did say though, if we decide to go like the chain link, don't put any, he said like the privacy screens or anything. He says it becomes a big windsock and it will knock it over. So, he said banners. Obviously, he's like, those are fine. He goes, just don't put a big windsock where it's going to catch a bunch of wind if we go that route. So, one of the other things I called ASAP about the doors. They said hopefully they'll either get it in later this week or next week. So we should be scheduling that. The only other update I had was I heard back from the dealer about the truck on a trade-in value. They offered $20,000. My opinion, I wouldn't do it. I would actually buy this truck and then put that truck on Gov Deals at a minimum bid of say like $30,000. Because every research I did was they're selling them for like 40 something.
Keep in mind what Martha said, we have to get the.
I was talking with her about it.
Okay.
So, yeah. She said we'll try to make something work. So
Okay.
I can, to Mike's point, so what we could do is when he sells the truck on Gov Deals, then we can ask for an estimated certificate of amended resources with that extra, and then we could make new appropriations if we have to spend that towards something else. So there's some mechanics there, but we can make it work.
Thank you. You sound so ominous over the speaker, just so you know.
I know, I'm like Oz. I'm Oz behind the
The all-powerful.
The great and mighty Oz.
I like that. It's better than the historian or some of the other names I've been called.
I like the historian, Martha. You're knowledgeable.
Clicking my heels.
With the win last night.
but anyway, with that truck also I have to get approval through Rector since it's not through state bid. So I am waiting on state bid quotes for a comparable truck through Valley. So whenever they get that, hopefully that's when we can move forward. So until then, like I said, I'm just kind of at the mercy of, we got to get the approvals through the prosecutor. So.
Is that it?
That's pretty much all I have on my, I did get a phone call from the PERC guy. He said hopefully next week. So.
PERC company.
Yeah.
On the Maple Hill
P-E-R-K.
warranty repairs.
So hopefully next week.
Yeah.
As long as he's got good weather.
It's interesting when you fire off an email, what happens.
Mhm. But other than that, that's about all the updates I have with us up there right now. Any questions for me?
I have a few things. Bellis looks fantastic. I think they did a great job there.
I just got 2 more compliments this weekend on Bellis. People are loving it.
Very nice job. Nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Looks great.
I went up and looked at Michelle. Are you happy with the prep work? I noticed one of the base repairs they did, probably about halfway down on the south side. There's a little bit of cratering next to it. I thought they would have encompassed that, but I just don't want, pardon?
Was it on the road edge or the berm edge?
The base repair was on the edge and it was inside of that on the road.
I'll have to take a look at that one. I didn't see it. So
Yeah.
I'll see what it looks like.
It's a little bit of a depression there and there's some cratering going on. And
Because a lot of times the chip seal cover, if it's just a small,
that's what I'm saying. If you think
no.
that's adequate, then
a lot of times, like I said, you'll get some here and there, but the chip seal, that surface, that wear surface will fill in a lot
Okay.
of stuff. So
thanks for taking care of the picnic tables up at Raw.
it'll get moved out there once it's dry.
Okay.
Always put a second coat on yesterday, a heavy one, so they're just
Appreciate that.
Should dry up today with all the heat, huh?
What's going on with the light lens replacements up there? Is that
I haven't heard from him yet, but he took a lens. He's supposed to be getting me prices. So
okay? Who was that? Brilliant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he stopped at the shop maybe a week ago. Grabbed the lens. So it's like anything, old lights, trying to find parts sometimes can be a challenge. So
And the chief's door handle?
waiting on a part order.
Are we waiting on him or you?
They're waiting on me, sir.
Okay.
Mike sent me the information to get it ordered, and in all honesty, it slipped past me with everything going on. So no excuse, we'll get it,
No worries.
ordered and we'll take care of it, but it's on me, not him.
Did you the entry steps are canted? Can we do any leveling in-house or is that an outside project
Concrete leveling?
for the steps into the police department?
I'd have to go over and look at them, so I wasn't even aware of it. But
No,
the whole concrete pads are on level.
There's there's 2 concrete steps up to the entry. And that whole thing is tilted a bit. And my concern is during winter, if you get some ice on there and you step onto it on the
It's
way out.
probably going to be replaced if it's on the stairway then.
Yeah.
So-
Take a look and see what you think. I just think it might be a liability.
And the whole steps are,
Okay.
the
Yeah,
front edge is
probably.
sunk
I
down.
believe the 2 steps leading up to the pad are a separate block, so it's starting to, as you said, pull away from the.
Yeah, we'll take a
I've
look
never
at it.
noticed that.
Oh, one more thing. We've been working on the insurance papers for all the stuff around here.
Okay.
Okay, bleachers. They're expensive. Those
Mhm.
ones that are over 30 inches, I don't want our guys welding handrails and doing all kinds of stuff because it's going to put a liability on us if something breaks or
Okay.
somebody falls. So it's either we're going to look at replacing them, which is not cheap, or, we remove them and do like a seating area. Doesn't seem like a lot and I don't know, but I know during all my boys' baseball games, nobody ever sits in bleachers. They all bring their own comfy chairs. So that's up to you guys.
Just the
Think about it.
scorekeepers who have to sit behind the umpire.
The new aluminum
Sitting on
ones, those should be
bleachers.
fine, but it's all the old steel ones. So, and then, just kind of think about, like I said, a set of bleachers is anywhere from, it looked like when I was looking at them, $3 to $6 grand. So,
Wow.
and then again, is that on us or is that on Raw? I'm not sure on that one. So, it's like I said, something to think about, something to look into.
I know it said structures
Yeah.
in the agreement, so that
Might be something to talk with Mike
Yeah.
about, but like I said, most feasible thing, like I said, what I would do, I think I would just remove them and put like a gravel pad there that we can spray and you can have a nice seating area, or you can just put it back with dirt and reseed it. So it's just something to think about. If you're up there, take a look at them, see what you think. But that's about all I have.
I stopped at Brookside too. I saw the guys grade out the arrow.
Yeah. We just, they tried to wire brush it. It wasn't.
Didn't work.
No, so they just got some like gray galvanized paint and just kind of made it a square just to try to match the road color.
I appreciate you going up there because the folks,
because we were going to take a propane torch and burn it, but then it's like, you're going to have a burn mark of an arrow in there forever. So, just paint it and be done.
all right. And, we have a property on Boston by Valley Air Golf Club. You know about that property?
Yeah, Martha and I talked about it a little bit.
Do you have to maintain that at all?
I didn't know about it till Martha told me here a couple of weeks ago. So
Me, myself as well.
that's what I got to get up there and take a look at it and actually see where it's at. So
There is,
Used to be a baseball diamond, right?
yeah. If you look, the golf course has like 2 outbuildings or pavilion and stuff. It's a property between that and the river there that comes in, and it goes like this, and then it curves part of the little river. And
yeah,
anyway, there is a discarded sofa on there. So I would think that we need to get rid of that at least, even if we're not going to maintain it.
what was on it? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Somebody dumped a couch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. And just while you're here, I sent out the thing about the old culvert replacement. You didn't have anything, and you're okay, but Fire's not here at all. Okay.
He's
Disregard.
online.
Chief, did you have any comments about the culvert replacement?
No, I did not.
So you're good to go with that.
Yes,
I will reply to them. Thank you.
thank you.
That is all I have for you. Anybody have anything else for Mike?
I do not.
Nice to see you, Mike.
Have a great day.
You guys too. All right, perfect.
Enjoy the heat.
Thanks, Mike.
No problem.
I'm gonna go to, fire.
Wait, Mike, one last thing. Did the stonework at Maple Hill Cemetery, Melissa had talked about the possibility of sealing that. I don't know that we want to seal it. It might look better weathered.
I said that originally. I think it would.
Yeah.
And then what you could always do is go pressure wash it every couple of years. But I mean, we can seal it. It's up to the trustees, whatever they want to do. So we can get a price on sealer.
All right, we'll talk about it at the next regular meeting. But at this point, that's what I'm inclined to say.
Yeah, I'm happy we didn't color it.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Yep.
You wanted to do Chief now?
Yeah, Jess, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go. How's everybody doing? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Good morning, Chief. How you feeling?
I feel good. Thanks for asking. Thank you for everybody that sent me well wishes and checking on me. First item is I got the bid spec back from Brian Richter on our SCBA's. I had made a couple minor alterations in dropping a couple SCBA's, but still remaining NFPA or FEMA compliance in our grant. So I will be looking to go back to bid with your guys' approval next week for another 30-day bid time period.
We don't have to have a special meeting to make the bid, just to open the bids, right?
Yes, last time we did the bid in a meeting, and then we had the opening in a special meeting.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is the preventive maintenance ladder testing and pump testing for the 2 engines in our tanker. The PM for each of them is about $1,250. The ladder testing for each of them is $1,250, and the pump test is $1,250. So we'll be looking through, do that through WW Williams.
What's the total on that, Jess?
It's like $1,500 plus they expect the typical shop costs of fluids or miscellaneous things. So, I'm going to figure out the rough quotes or the rough estimate of going over, but it's about $1,500 to do a full PM pump test and ladder test on each of the trucks.
Okay, thank you.
And then the last item I have is last week or a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I met with Trustee Mazzullo and Martha and Jen, and we talked about levy stuff, getting preparations of it, and Martha suggested we potentially look at a bonus incentive for the members based on hours worked in a quarter. Right now, our members have to work a minimum of 4 shifts a month. So that would be 12 shifts in a quarter. And what we talked about and spoke with Martha a couple times since then, that if the members do their minimums in a quarter, their 12 minimum shifts in a quarter, and they pick up 3 additional shifts at a total of 36 hours, they would get a 5% bonus incentive on their hours worked at the end of the quarter. And then if they picked up additional 3 shifts on top of those 3 shifts, so if they did a total of 6 shifts in a quarter, extra shifts in a quarter, they would get a 7% bonus at the end of the quarter. This will hopefully retain guys. After talking to many of the members, a lot of them were on board with it. And then this will hopefully, if the levy passes and we do go to 3-man staffing, hopefully this helps with not having to hire so many members to the fire department.
I like it.
Can I add, another reason that we discussed this is that we seem to be reacting to wage increases sometimes, at least once a year, if not more. And this way it is up to the employee and their commitment to the department. They have the ability and an incentive to increase their wages, and that we don't necessarily have to give across the board wage increases with the frequency that we have been doing so.
I thought it was a good idea.
I agree.
So Chief, let me understand, you're having difficulty getting people to staff the shifts, is that correct?
Yes and no. Typically, we have a couple extra shifts in a month, and guys will pick them up. But going into the potentially adding the 3 more guys, this will give an incentive for guys to pick up additional shifts. But yes, each month we do have a couple extra shifts that we have to page out, or I'll fill the couple open shifts to cover them.
And by doing this, are the people who are working regular shift, are they going to time out?
No, not. We only had last year, we only had 2 guys time out at the end of the year with their hours worked. When we looked at the hours for everybody else, this won't max out the potential members until we look at the 3-man shifts. But adding the 2 extra shifts, basically 2 extra shifts a month is what we're looking to get that 7% pay incentive. It won't max out their hours in a year.
I guess one of my concerns is with 2-man staffing, you're having difficulty staffing shifts. Now you're going to add 3-man. I'm having a problem with the math.
Well, we have a lot of guys that do pick up more than their minimums each month anyways. I don't want to say we have a hard time staffing our shifts now. This will just hopefully make guys want to work more hours here so that in the future, we won't have to hire as many members. But for the last, we have never been unstaffed since I took over as chief. And in the last 3 months, I have not had to pick up or help on any of the shifts because we did have enough members to cover the shifts.
Okay.
And he knows moving into it, if we go to 3-man, we're going to have to hire. We said 5, right, chief?
5 to 10, yeah. I'm hoping with this, this incentive that we'll only have to hire about 5. And I'm hoping that this also helps retain some members. When I shared this idea with several members, they really liked it, and they said they would be looking to pick up extra shifts in the month.
And this will give us 6 months to see how it's working before we even go to a 3-man staffing, 3-person staffing at the beginning of the year. So if we start this in July, it's going to give us 6 months to see how's it going. And that's going to be a better precursor to understanding how many people we would actually need to hire.
Yep, you are absolutely right on that.
Correct?
Yep, that is correct.
So this came of doing something different because we've had these conversations before. We continue to increase wages in order to retain and attract. I think we can all agree that that's been fair to middling successful. And so therefore, if we offer an incentive to those people, it would reduce the maxing out of time because you'd have more people participating and picking up hours across the board. That doesn't occur now. It's on the shoulders of a small amount of individuals. And also that perhaps when people are looking at working part-time at different departments, they will see Hinckley as offering something a little bit different than the other competitive departments that are attracting the same talent.
All right, great. Anything else, Chief?
No, and I did make one error. On the PMs, it'll be $17.50 for the ladder testing, pump testing, and the PM. I apologize for that. I have nothing else.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did Tom have anything for zoning?
He did not.
He did not. Okay. Do you have anything, Suzanne?
I just wanted to bring up, I had received an email from a person who wanted to put a bench at one of the cemeteries by their family plot, and just wanted to share with you that generally we don't allow any extra benches unless it's something that the township coordinates and does, because it's just more to work around and stuff. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention, and that I will respond then if I'm permitted.
Okay.
You agree?
All right. Thank you. Lynn? You guys are on deck.
Standing.
You want me to start? Sure. So all of our officers that work the road, being sergeants or patrolmen, all have a personal duty bag that they keep their forms, clipboards, and such in. The Hinckley Police Department has had 2 departmental duty bags that contain road used equipment such as AEDs for life-saving measures, portable breath test for roadside impairment, tint meters, traffic stops, testing window tint, and a few other items. We've always had 2 bags. Back when I started, when we had 1 person working the road, that was plenty. As we've increased staffing, the 2 has been sufficient. Now that we're up to the point where normally scheduled day, we have 2 patrolmen and a sergeant that overlaps with 3 working the road. Typically, only the 2 patrolmen have those bags. So there are instances, again, the most important is the AED. If those 2 guys are tied up or the sergeant is the first to respond to a squad call with life-saving measure, he does not have the AED available to him until the patrolman shows up. Same thing again, if the patrolmen are tied up for those other PBTs, tint meters, et cetera. So the chief and I have talked about getting a 3rd bag. The sergeants have requested that. So I've gotten, again, the bigger ticket items, I've gotten some quotes on. The biggest one being the AED. I reached out to Chief Grossenbaugh back in March to find out who their vendor would be for purchasing that type of equipment. He recommended Stryker. I spoke to the representative at Stryker and I initially got a quote for $2,283.60. Did some fair share of searching online and found some cheaper options. So I went back to our rep or their rep at Stryker and beat them up a little bit and got that price down to $1,645. So pretty substantial savings there. The other items would be that tint meter. There's 2 versions, a little bit different price, but the max price on that's $139. And then the portable breath testing machines. As I said, we have 2 in those current duty bags. They are older models. Through the years, they've offered some additional features. The other thing is each of those, the operation is different. So if one guy's using one you have to hit the button and then hold it. The function is different, so it can be confusing. So we discussed upgrading all of them, getting one new one for the new duty bag and replacing the old 2 for a total of 3. Those are about $425 a piece. The rep there is going to throw in the replaceable mouthpieces for free. So the total cost for 3 of those would be $1,308. So to equip the sergeant with the new duty bag with this equipment and replace the PBTs for the patrolman duty bags would be a total cost of $3,092.
Okay, and you have that in your funds?
We do.
Mike.
How many units are out at one time? Do you have 3 units out?
Yeah, like I said, with the exception of training or somebody taking time off, we typically have 2 day shifters with a sergeant that starts mid shift and overlaps the 2 night shifters. So for a 12-hour period, we have 3 on.
Okay.
Do you guys carry on hand also the life-saving medications like Narcan, like EpiPens?
We do have
Like that.
Narcan. We were all trained in Narcan, but we do not have EpiPens.
Okay.
We are in the middle of, all the cars are equipped with a first aid kit.
Mm-hmm.
They're all a little bit different. We're looking into getting those universal as well and getting those replaced and updated.
Okay.
That's it for me.
As you're aware, we have been down an officer for almost a year now when Travis McCourt resigned and went to the sheriff's office. So we have a young man that is currently in the hiring process. His name is Anthony Newberg. He lives in Granger Township. He's been with the Cleveland Police Department for about 8.5 years now. His background came out well. In fact, he's taking his psychological exam this morning. So we'll have that back. He is, much like the fire department, we're facing some of the same troubles with finding good quality applicants that will fit the department and fit the community. And we think Anthony will certainly do that. So I've spoken to each of you individually as to what I would like to do for his hiring. We attempted to enter into an agreement with the OPBA as to the lateral hiring situation that everybody is facing now. That's pretty much the standard. All the departments in the county are doing, the big departments anyway, are doing lateral hiring. and they're bringing officers on at whatever their time in service is. If they're topped out, then they're giving them top pay. So we attempted to enter into that agreement with the OPBA. They declined our offer for the MOU to put that in the contract. So it was decided and done, and there was no going, every candidate was then not subject to something different. We would just do it and be done with it like everybody else is doing to remain competitive. They declined our offer, and that's fine. We have the right to do it anyway. The union and, our attorney, everybody agrees that we really don't need their permission to do it. We just wanted to, for once and for all, have a standard.
Formalize.
So that way, all the folks that work here now understand what we're doing, and there's no having to go through what I'm about to propose. It would just be set. So we've got contract negotiations coming up. Maybe we'll get that worked out. Maybe we won't. But again, we have the right as the employer to do, what we want when we bring on new people. So my proposal, if Anthony passes his psychological today, I will tell you he is next up to be hired by Copley PD. So there's, I don't want to say urgency to getting this done for him, but we really like him. We've gone through the process with him for about the last 10 months or so. He's, we've talked to him on numerous occasions. His background, Mike and Joe went up to Cleveland. His background is clean. He just seems like a good fit for us. He's got kids that go to Granger Elementary, so he's vested in our, school system community. He's come out and, ridden with our officers on a couple of occasions, so he understands that there is a drastic difference between what he does and what goes on in his daily work in Cleveland versus at Hinckley. So, because that's a big thing for us, is we want to make sure that that's a fit for whoever comes here, and we're not doing this. We hire them, and this isn't enough activity for them, or it's not what they expect, and then they move on. So, retention is a big thing for us. So I'm gonna propose to the board that we hire Anthony be at the class 2 to start, which is $29.94 an hour. After 6 months, he would go to class 3, which is $32.57 an hour. And then upon completing his probation at the 1-year mark, he would go to class 4, which is our top pay. That's currently at $33.86. Now, we do have contract negotiations coming up, so those numbers will change. His sick leave would obviously transfer from Cleveland. He has just under 300 hours on the books there. As far as vacation time goes, I would like him to accrue 2 weeks in his first year. That's what everybody essentially accrues. And then after completing probation at the 1-year mark, he would go to whatever his service time is, which will reach 9 years of service in December. So he would be at our three weeks a year rate. So it's not a big jump, but that's what it would be. So that's what.
And all of that is relative to the lateral transfer policy you're talking about?
There is really no set policy because we never made it to that point. But this is essentially what we've done when we hired Jake Ghetto from Medina Township. We did a variation of this, not quite at these numbers because Jake didn't have the time in service that Anthony does. But we're following the same model, for the most part.
This actually would be lesser than, basically, if the OPBA would have accepted the proposal, this is a lesser level than what would have been the standard.
So I would suggest drafting an internal policy relative to what you're speaking about. That way it's on paper, and then you have it for any future hires should. Sure. And of course, if you work something out with their union, it could be incorporated into that as well.
Easy enough done. So that's what I would like.
Thought I had it on something.
That's what I would like to do to get, pending his passing his psychological exam this morning, which I'm fairly confident that he will. then that's what I would like to be able to offer him and get him hired and started.
I don't know that we can agree to that here. Martha, can we agree to let him proceed with that?
I think we just, it's the motion to hire it, right?
Well, next week at the regular meeting, then as long as,
No, you have to do it at a regular meeting. You can't make any motions in a work session except for executive session.
Understood.
that's what I would like to do to get Anthony hired. We certainly can, make a motion to do so at next Tuesday without a problem. I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Mhm.
That's what I would like to do. And we'll wait for final approval next Tuesday.
I don't see any roadblocks in getting that done.
And I certainly will draft a, policy to add to our hiring segment of Lexipol as you suggest.
Okay.
So a couple other things. We are moving forward with the garage resurfacing project with the company from Richfield that's going to do that. So I've been in touch with them. They're anticipating getting started sometime later this summer. Again, just like everyone else, they're getting supplies in and the needed materials to do the project and getting it on their calendar. So that is moving forward. We are having some problems with the garage door opener in the Sally port. It is over 20 years old now. It's not retaining its memory in the openers, and guys have to crawl.
Sounds like me.
They're having to crawl up a ladder, reset their garage door opener. So I'm going to look into getting a price to replace that garage door opener and go through the ones down below as well. So that'll be forthcoming. I do have a quote back from the company that came out to look at doing the door lock system. I will, at the next work session, bring that to you and we'll go over it and see where we're at with that. But that, I finally did get a quote back from them. It's a little costly, but it does encompass everything in the department that we asked them to look at.
Mhm.
So, and given that there's a considerable amount of installation to that because the doors are not wired for, the magnetic locks and all of that. So it's probably not, out of the realm of being reasonable. It's just, it is expensive.
Right.
So that's all I've got.
Mike, did you ever hear back from Great Lakes about that anomaly?
I did not. That second time I spoke to him, he said he would submit a ticket, and I asked them to let me know what they figured out, and I have not heard back.
Okay.
Have you heard back about the new system? Any update from the 2 week that I got?
Nope.
Okay.
So we'll be looking for that. The one other thing that I have for the police is that I would like to start moving forward on the contract negotiations. And in light of recent issues, I think maybe it would be best to approach it with me as the liaison, talking with them and bringing the information back to the board. If that's okay with you, that's what I'll do. Okay.
You've already started, haven't you? She sent that email a couple of months ago, the attorney.
Sarah.
Right, but I haven't heard nothing more since that time.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get going on that.
I don't know if I copied you on that email. I responded and I said I would not be a part of the conversations at all.
Okay.
Trustee Swedick, maybe that's a conversation you and I can sit down with Martha and start going over
Absolutely.
some numbers. And then we don't want to talk to Sarah Moore any more than we have to because they do send us a bill for that. But
Like every 9 minutes.
Yep. We can sit down and have some conversation as to, some direction on that with Martha. That would be awesome. Get moving on that. And one other thing, I think everybody's aware that Sergeant Linville does intend to retire sometime shortly after the 1st of November. He did tell us yesterday that he has about 72 work days left. So he is
Not that he's counting.
So I will, we are going to look to replace him maybe sooner than later. And so we're not in a void when he leaves. So we're going to be working on that as well.
Okay, very well.
So that's all I've got.
And I have nothing further for these gentlemen. Yourself?
I do not. What I'm gonna talk to you about with the speed reduction, I already talked to Chief about. So
Okay.
Anytime we can get some of these roads slowed down, I'm all for that.
yeah.
So I do know on a little bit of an update, I was working with ODOT about Ridge and Mattingly. There is additional signage going up. The county has agreed to do that through our conversations with ODOT and the traffic surveys they've done. So you'll start to see some additional signage on both sides of Mattingly. And they were doing some tree trimming to the south of the intersection to increase visibility a little bit. So hopefully that intersection will be a little safer.
Great.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
Is your air conditioning fixed now?
They recharged it. It still has a hole in it, and we're waiting on a quote from Precision Mechanical to replace what needs to be replaced to fix it. HVAC is not a strong point for me. So
Okay.
I just call people.
This is a good day for me. I have meetings here all day long, and this is a good day for it. I get to sit in the air since I don't have it at
Doesn't have
home.
air at home.
You want air conditioning anymore?
No.
She's keeping it rural.
I am gonna have my son and my nieces and nephews start making me the paper fans you did in elementary
Oh
school.
my God.
I would look into air conditioning personally.
There's nothing wrong with fresh air, but on a day like this.
The air is heavy,
Yeah.
without question. So
Yes.
thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Ladies, take care.
You too.
Okay.
Let's see. I guess you're on.
I'm up. All right. I am going to be making a motion next week to pay Lighthouse Solutions for our annual security check, which will be $5,746. So that will be on the agenda next week. I believe I mentioned to you back in December, I talked to you and like the Harry, but I had mentioned it very off the cuff about looking at some of these roads that we have in Hinckley that do not have a posted speed limit on them. So therefore they are 55 mile an hour unmarked country roads. I did reach out to ODOT and I heard back from Matt Martin from the county. I was not planning on hearing back from them for like another 9 months, but I mean, they said it would be like later. So they actually did do a speed reduction survey. So for Lionswood, which Lionswood looks to be like it was originally mapped out to be a subdivision, they can post, if we choose to, we'll need to make resolutions, but they can post a speed limit on Lionswood of 25 miles per hour instead of 55 miles per hour that it is right now. Also, Eastwood and King are not currently marked. They did the speed reduction survey, and the information that came back from Eastwood and King, they have a suggestion of 40 miles per hour, which is still, I think, kind of high, but better than 55 miles per hour. And I look at it as this is really a liability for the township. You know, if somebody were actually going those excessive speeds of 45, 50, 55 miles an hour down one of those roads and hits a pedestrian walking or, you know, a kid riding their bicycle, that's a liability on the township. So I wanted to know if you had any objections or thoughts on any of that?
I did. My only thought is with 25 folks, you know, going from 55 to 25, that's a huge change.
Are those dead end streets?
Monique,
Yes.
I live on Eastwood. And I know the reason that it isn't posted is because 40 miles per hour is too fast on this road.
Okay.
If you're going 30 miles an hour, you're going way too fast. And that
There's
Mike
also-
Schroll could probably give you some information. But when Paul Magavac was here, there is a reason that limits are not posted on certain roads that are by right able to be traveled at 55 miles an hour.
Mhm.
It's because if people are given a speed limit, they're going to drive to that limit. And it's actually safe driving warrants a speed even below the posted limit.
Well, from what I understand, and maybe you will have a different understanding than I do, is this was just a preliminary review. So we could come back and say, we don't want 40, we would like it lowered to 25 miles per hour. That's what I understood from the email that I received.
Well, that's reasonable, but I would certainly fight 40 miles an hour on my road or King Road because that is way too fast. I mean,
I agree. And I had talked to Chief Sentner about it last week. And I said, not really thrilled with 40 miles per hour, but it's technically, it's better than 55 miles per hour. So I can email them back. And then that was my next question for you also, Jack, since I started this process in January and you are now the roads liaison, would you like me to forward you the information and you can take this over, or do you want me to just continue?
If you're that deep into it, I'm fine with you doing. How long is Eastwood, Martha, on that section?
It's about between a quarter, half a mile. But see, the other problem we have is we have that extension that goes to the east, the cul-de-sac, and there is a significant grade drop there. So really anyone going in excess of, I'm going to use 30 miles per hour, but that's still pretty swift. If you're going 40, if you're going 50, you're airborne and you're going to smash into the woods.
All right. So my recommendation would be both of those are dead ends, which it appears they are, that I know they're not developments, but to me, it's no different than the development. And I think probably any development with a dead end, I would say 15 even.
Well, that's a little, that's, drive it yourselves and see what you find is appropriate. But my understanding was always that I don't know how arbitrary they are, and that's good if they're willing to accommodate the conditions. But because of the way they're built or that they were once through roads, it's mandated by state and local county authorities there.
And what I noticed when I was driving on those streets and just talking to people in the fall is, that's a huge drop at the end of Eastwood. But it's that because it's such a long dead end street is maybe they start off going fast, so they can easily be up to, 40, 45 on those roads, when they initially turn onto them. But then, yes, with Eastwood, that is a big drop at the end. But King doesn't have that so much. King is pretty much, there's a little bit of a dip, but not anything like Eastwood. So I can email them back and see if we can lower that beyond the 40. That was my understanding of it. I just wanted to bring it up today to see if there were any objections to it. Anybody saying absolutely not?
No, but with it being a dead end, I would like to see it a bit lower, right? As my initial assumption was that it was a through street, but if it's ending in a cul-de-sac, usually it's just the folks who are living there for the most part are the ones operating on it. And in it, like in any other development, my concern is that, if you've got school buses or, kids out there, maybe they don't live there now, but they may in the future. And then, somebody's zipping through there to what end, what that's going to save you 8 seconds getting to the end of that cul-de-sac. So,
Yeah. No, I would like to see it below 40. I mean, I think it's better than 55, but I would
Yeah.
still like to see, I would like to see 25. So I will email them back and see what I can find out for next week or just beyond. There's no urgency to this, obviously.
okay.
I would request the board that if it is 40, to not post a sign. Because right now, people drive according to the conditions.
Right,
And
if
if
it's
you
posted,
see a
they're gonna go
sign
to
that's
it.
posted 40, they're going 45. I mean, that's just human nature. I think we can all acknowledge that. And that was always the reason that past boards going way, way back just have not posted signs on some of these roads, because to indicate as such is really going to increase the speed.
Right.
But there's
Well,
nothing to say that we can't reduce the
If you
speed
can
limit on
lower
that
it,
road.
that's fine. If you can lower it, that's fine. But what I'm saying is if you
Right,
post
not
a
post it.
sign that says 40 miles per hour, someone's going to look at that and be driving this road at 45 miles an hour.
Right, but we want to have the ability to do enforcement.
You know, and notwithstanding our fine police force, but they've got a lot of busier roads to enforce. They're not doing.
I understand that, but
Traffic
if a
stops.
complaint would be made, then there would be the ability to conduct some enforcement.
Well, again, I think I've said what I needed to say, the direction I would go if a 40 mile per hour sign was posted on Eastwood Road.
Yeah, I brought it up only to be proactive.
No, I'm okay with not posting it, but I definitely a reduction is in order. Okay.
Okay. I will send an email. And then the last thing I have is I will be meeting with Proximity Marketing today for our first meeting for the website refresh.
And who said that would never get done?
So that's exciting. That's all I have.
Martha, that healthcare email, if we wanted just to entertain information from them for informational purposes,
Oh, yeah, you guys can inquire. I would have to say that with our October 1st
Yeah.
renewal date, that there would likely not be any time to change providers, and also that our current staff is happy with our plan. I did check with both police unions, and you know, they're happy with what we have and the
All right,
contribution they're making.
I'll respond to them accordingly then, just to not to ignore them.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can do your due diligence, like Melissa said. It's just there would not be enough time to enact any changes at this point of the game.
Understood.
This renewal.
Did Brilliant Sign ever send you the invoice?
Oh, you know what? I'll let you know. Off the
Okay.
top of my head, I have a couple things on my list about invoices. I'll check while you're talking.
And my last question for you is, do you need the signed website development agreement, or do we hold that?
I keep all the agreements in the file cabinet in the back.
All right, I'll make sure to get that to you. Okay. And I am meeting with wastewater. They had a couple of things that they wanted to talk with me about. I'll be meeting with them. I think that's tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow afternoon, just to touch base. And also the old fire station, pardon?
What's that for?
Wastewater. The old fire station project, after going back and forth with the architect. I think our best option is to rebid it with a new estimate. So I have a request in him to revise that, and he should be getting that to me in the next day or two. Do we have any ability to add additional funds in there, Martha?
Additional funds are dependent on why, I mean, in order to change the engineer's estimate, is that why you're asking?
No, I'm saying if he changed the estimate, and I think you said we had 60,000 left there.
Well, 60,000 left from the original contribution. But then there is money appropriated in the building fund for any additions.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll have him do the estimate, and then we'll see where it comes in. And barring anything else, that's all I have.
One more thing, Kimball bills should have gone out this week. So everybody that's been waiting on their Kimball bills, I did the same thing last night when I heard it. I'm like, it's one less complaint, right? We'll take it. Okay.
Yeah.
Lynn has one thing.
If the people do not pay by September 1st, they will get assessed if they're delinquent on their bills.
Okay.
I'll remind them for a little bit.
Do you want to repeat those words for the good of the public?
If people do not pay their bill by September 1st, they will be assessed on their taxes.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
But
Anybody in the virtual world?
Jack, I have some items.
Yes, ma'am.
we ignored Martha.
I thought I asked her first.
Brilliant has not submitted their invoice yet for the repairs. I also do not have a bill from Angel Printing for the survey mailing yet. I know Suzanne had made a call, but I still have not received any bill from them. Monique, are you going to share those levy certificates?
Next
Did I
week?
provide? Well, I mean, you can,
Purple folder.
yeah, you got the
Yes,
purple folder?
Yeah, I'll read that in, Martha. I thought that was for our information. I didn't know you wanted that.
Well, I don't
Oh.
care. I just want to make sure everybody has a copy of those certificates from the auditor, that we did receive that based on your resolution last week. I had emailed them to Chief
Yes, I got
Garcia and Monique.
Okay,
on
so
there.
I need to read these in now?
Well, no, I mean, you are not required to do anything. You just might want to share them with the board or make a copy or indicate it's not a secret. It's general
Well,
information.
I'll just say we got the information back from the auditor's office. The renewal levy based on the tax valuation of $402,513,880. The renewal would generate $348,400 per year. And the additional levy based on the same tax valuation would generate $390,500 per year. So we'll make sure to get copies of those for each of us.
And then based on that information, you can discuss your next resolutions if you want to proceed with
Understood.
putting that on the ballot. Then also we received auditor's rebate. It's a special real estate reimbursement settlement. And these are funds that the auditor extracts in order to do his appraisals and et cetera. And he always does a very fine job with that. So we get the settlement, the extra. So in the general fund, $50,647.63 has been deposited. Once again, at this time, I'm not going to request an amended certificate for that 50,000. So it's not something that can be appropriated. We'll see how things go further on in the year, maybe when I get the American Rescue Plan money, maybe we'll include that receipt also in the amended certificate, but we'll see if it's necessary. Otherwise, we'll carry it over till next year. On August 2nd, the special election, I am not going to be in town, so I need someone to step up and be the contact for the Board of Elections to fill in. And so you guys can discuss that and let me know who that might be. I think the police department can open up the building at 5:30 and close it. I usually do that as the contact, but I'm sure that they will happily do that. So I'll just need a contact. And then finally, we have a government contract registration. It's called the SAM registration. Jen and I have been trying to renew it for a couple months now, but we're running into roadblock. We have to indicate on there when our entity was set up. And so I may call Gatchel and see if she can help us get that renewal, because we're at a little bit of a roadblock with the renewal on that. The numbers I've put in to try and get it to move have not clicked yet. So just as an FYI on that one, Jess is helping me with that too. And that's it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Anyone else virtual? Seeing none, I will make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 10:32 a.m.
Second.
Asherle,
Yes.
Sweattick, yes. Thank you, everybody.